everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're in our last month of warm up to topicals. And it's the last month because we expect it to be warm outside after this one. We can keep our fingers crossed at least. Just tell you that the next program is this Saturday at 4 o'clock Eastern. And we have 3 creative ladies who are going to show us what they've done with many topics. During the pandemic, a lot of us have made small collections where there are maybe only 30 or so, or maybe even less, stamps for a topic. And it's pretty easy to put together a small collection, and it's a lot of fun. So be sure and join us for that. And then we have 2 programs coming after that. In May, we're going to be offering 2 courses that have been very much in demand for some time, and we finally put them together with some really good speakers. The first is going to be on making your own stamp album pages. This has been something that we've gotten a lot of requests to offer, and we have put that together. That'll be 3 classes. And then after that, we'll have a 5-session course on thematic exhibiting. It's going to be a lot of how-to, hands-on kind of things, some case studies where people will walk you through exactly what the steps that they took to put together a thematic exhibit. So watch for that. It's going to be in the upcoming issue of Topical Time, and will also be on the website. And now it is my pleasure to introduce someone who is very special in the life of ATA. Aimée Devine designs and writes our Topical Tidbits pages that are on our website. These are free, downloadable, printable pages with wonderful activities for people of all ages, really. She does them with youth in mind, but I love to go on there and look at what she's done. There are more than 500 pages of topical tidbits on all different topics. The newest one is on Ireland. So when we get done here tonight, if you haven't looked at those pages, go on the ATA website at americantopical.org and take a look. You'll be amazed at this lady's creativity, and maybe she'll be showing us a few of those in the course of her presentation. Amy's done so many wonderful things to get young people involved in stamp collecting. One of the most important was that she wrote and designed The Magical Kingdom of Stamp Collecting, a wonderful Disney themed book that is available from ATA. She was extensively involved in creating youth pages, the youth area for the World Stamp Show in New York City in 2016. And in 2019, she received the ATA's highest award, Distinguished Topical Philatelist. It's my pleasure to introduce Aimée Devine.
Thank you very much, Dawn. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon and good morning, also, depending on where you are. This is my first time doing a Zoom presentation, so please bear with me as I try and get things set up here. Okay, can everyone see that now?
Looking good.
Yep, okay. So today I'm going to be talking about ideas for involving youth in stamp collecting. My involvement in this started in 2011 at the ATA show in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My boys were 8 and 6 at the time, and they had already been collecting for 3 years. Mary Ann Bowman suggested we attend a presentation given by Jean Stout, Penguin Lady. The boys had a blast and loved learning about these special creatures. They took away a bag full of penguin goodies, and I somehow got talked into producing the first issue of Topical Tidbits, which was on penguins. Well, 10 years later, the boys' penguin crackers and other treats are long gone, but I'm still creating issues. It's published virtually 4 times a year, and they're available on the ATA's website under the youth heading. Subjects range from bees to Hawaii to dragons, and the length of each issue varies depending on how much time I have to work on each issue. On a side note, if you look down at the bottom of the screen, I've included links so that you can go back later on after the presentation and find where the information that was presented is located. As far as getting children interested in stamps, I would say the most important thing is to listen to what they're interested in. The cowboy pictured here is my nephew, who dresses like this almost every day of the week. So I got him interested in collecting stamps and covers with cowboys, horses, cattle, the American Indians, and the Wild West. His younger sister, pictured here, loves anything having to do with babies. So now her album pages are babies, baby dolls, Madonna and Child, and baby Jesus. Based on these interests, albums can be custom made either by hand or on the computer for each particular child. All you need to make a topical album is a 3-ring binder and heavier paper like cardstock. There are hundreds of pages already designed and available for free on the ATA's website. There are more on the APS's website and on the Wisconsin Federation of Stamp Club's website. If you don't have access to a printer, you can always handwrite the title along the top of the page. Grid paper works really well for children because it helps them line up the stamps neatly. Punch holes in the paper if necessary, and the child is ready to get started. There are now over 250 album pages to choose from on the ATA's website. If there's a topic missing that you'd like pages for, feel free to email me and I'll make it. No request is too strange. I have another nephew who is obsessed with colonial days, and he asked for a page for his wig collection. The ATA also offers packets called Taste of Topicals, and each kit contains album pages and approximately 30 stamps, hinges, and other information to help you get started in topical collecting. These would be a great gift to send to a child. Another way to involve youth in stamps is through 4-H. For those of you that are not familiar with 4-H, it is not just about animals anymore. Kids are able to do a variety of projects from rockets to sewing to computers. Every year, a few months before the fair, kids receive their fair books like the one pictured here on the left. Listed inside are all the projects available and the requirements for each one. And these do tend to vary state by state. There's an example here called Exploring the Environment, and I've highlighted the requirements for this project. And you would put together a set of illustrations and natural history information about 10 mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians, fish, insects, animal signs, or animal behavior. And this would be a perfect example of how you could incorporate stamps in this project. Most of the 4-H projects will say that it can be done on a poster, a journal, a display, or a scrapbook, and these are all methods of using stamps. So here are some examples that my boys have done over the years. In Nature Space, one of them did a journal on dolphins, and another one has done a journal on birds of prey, and he broke that into several parts. The first part was eagles, and then he did owls the next year. My other son did a project on recycling, and he used the Go Green stamps. In mechanical science, my son Thomas really likes the Apollo lunar landing, so he did a project board on that the first year. And then he broke it up and did a binder just on Apollo 11. And then the next year, actually it was a couple of years later because it was so much material, he did just the Apollo manned missions. In arts and crafts, one child did a trash can with decoupage, and he used Machins to make a cat. And he did a clock another year using sailboat stamps for his room. Let's see, now it won't let me, there we go. In shooting sports, Thomas did a journal on archery around the world. And then he did one year just on United States, and then archery and literature. And for computers, they were also able to use stamps by designing fictional letterheads and business cards. I'm sorry, letterhead and business cards for a fictional stamp business. Another way to get kids interested in stamps is through board games and other games. From the time that they are toddlers, kids love playing dress up. And who says that they can only be princesses or superheroes? Why not mail carriers? To add to that, you could get them a play set with a mailbox and letter writing kit. And to take it one step further, you could create their own post office in a corner of their room or your living room. For older kids, there are board games like Stampin', and the cards in this game actually can be pulled out and used separately to play Philatelic Go Fish, which is fun for a stamp club meeting. There's, of course, a post office Opoly and another game called Stamp Mania. For high school kids, there's Thurn and Taxis and the Patriot Challenge, which is a trivia game. And there are many vintage games available on eBay. It might set you back a few bucks, but they're totally worth it because the graphics are so fabulous. The next way to involve youth in stamps is through craft projects. On the Wisconsin Federation of Stamp Clubs website, there are free printable Valentines, and you can print those out as they are and cut them apart, or you could use them to make fancier Valentines like the ones pictured on the left. Another idea for Valentine's Day is to use actual stamps. I got these little tags from Hobby Lobby and glued stamps on them and decorated them with ribbons, and then wrote messages on the back that related to the stamp image. Home Depot offers a free kids workshop once a month, and kids build a wood project there at the store, and then they can take it home and decorate it. And we painted these and added stamps. And I think that Lowe's has a similar project, but I'm not sure exactly what they offer because we don't have a Lowe's here in our town. Hobby Lobby and Michael's have items that can be decorated with stamps. We took the bank that's on the left and pulled out the sheet that says Jesus on it and covered it with stamps and inserted it back in. And now the boys have a stamp bank. And in the middle is a coffee mug that someone decorated with postage stamps. Another fun project that kids enjoy is making Christmas ornaments. And you can look online for ideas of different ornaments to make, but these are just some of the few that I've done with my stamp club kids over the years. And they really like this because they give it to their parents for a present. Another way to involve children in stamps is through literature. There are many books written on a variety of levels that cover all aspects of the hobby. The Jolly Postman book has actual letters that can be taken out and read. The Seven Little Postmen tells about the mail being delivered. Mailing May is about a little girl whose parents sent her through the mail because it was cheaper than buying a train ticket. And that's based on a real story. There are also videos online of people reading books like this Benjamin Franklin book here. So if you don't have access to the book, you could always watch it online. Now we'll talk about some activities that are available that can be used for stamp club meetings, for stamp show activities in the classroom or at home. This activity is from the circus issue of Topical Tidbits. And you would print this out and cut the cards apart, and the children would put the cards in alphabetical order based on the animal that's inside each circus wagon. And then when they're finished, they have a long train. These activities are from the Ireland issue that just came out. The first set is a matching game featuring wildlife and animals from Ireland. And the second activity uses these beautiful cachets by Ludwig Steele. He did a series of castles in Ireland, and I added the name of the castle and the county location in the bottom right corner. And you could cut these out and put them in alphabetical order, or you could get a map of Ireland and have kids find the counties and locate where the castles are located. Or you could print out 2 copies and make a matching game with it, like a memory game. This Civil War activity booklet was made to go along with the Civil War YouTube video that I created. And there's a page for each battle, and then a space for the stamp to go, and then space to write figures and statistics related to each battle. This flower activity is also in Topical Tidbits, and you could turn this into a matching game, or you could actually buy seed packets and empty the seeds into Ziploc bags and number them corresponding to the image on the seed packet, and let children try to identify the different seeds. And I do have a version of this with vegetables if anyone is interested. It's not online anywhere, but I could send it to you. These activities are good for anyone that is interested in France. There's a French travel bingo game, and then there are matching cards with French vocabulary words and a word search on French colonies. These were developed when one of the, I think it was the French colonies group, was presenting at Milgopex one year. And this activity is perfect for this time of year. It's a matching game. The children match the bird egg to the appropriate stamp. And these are also from a Topical Tidbits issue. This Christmas seal activity, again, you print out the sheets and cut apart the cards, and kids would look at each stamp and put them in chronological order based on the date that the Christmas stamp came out. These moon games were developed for the American First Day Cover Society and for one of the issues of Topical Tidbits, if I remember correctly. And I wanted to point out the clear acrylic holder there. Those are really nice for stamp shows or for stamp clubs, because you can put the name of the activity on the front, and then if you need an answer key, it can go behind. And you can usually find those at garage sales for less than $1 each. Another quick tip are metal rings help keep activity sheets together. And I know that printing everything in color gets expensive, so I like to put things in clear page protectors, and then children can use dry erase markers on them, and the activities can be reused multiple times. Map games are always fun, and I picked these maps up at Target at their back to school sale, and then found stamps for each continent on the one on the left, and then states on the one on the right. And children just match them up based on where the stamp is from. For this activity, it is nice to have a stamp atlas nearby if you have one. I tend to make activities based on the material that I have on hand. And the activity on the left was because I had a huge tote full of flags on paper, and I do not have enough time to soak thousands of flag stamps. So I decided to make a little booklet, and kids just glued those flags right into the booklet. They tried to find a different one for each page, and they really enjoyed doing that activity. And the one on the left, someone donated the commemorative folio of the Statue of Liberty. So I pulled out some activity pages that I had already made on the Statue of Liberty, and that was a nice little activity for a stamp show. Another way to make a topical collection is to have binders and cardstock available, and then an assortment of covers and stamps, and let the children go through and pick out those for a collection. Like, for example, they might find a cover for a baseball player and then look for baseball stamps, and they could put them all on one page and put a heading on it and put it in their binder, and then they have that to take home with them at a show. This magnifier game uses a tool that's important for philatelists, and I just gathered a variety of different magnifying glasses that I have, and I put a sticker on each one with a letter. And then I typed up a sheet of paper with the letters listed and a blank in front of them, and the kids used each magnifier and ranked them from best to worst. And this is nice to have engraved stamps for this activity because they do look so nice when they're magnified. This activity was created because I received free stickers in the mail from a children's magazine, and it was one sticker for each state. So I stuck the stickers onto flashcards and then found a stamp for each state and glued the stamp on another card, and now it's a matching game. And this would be a good way to use those flag Cinderella stamps that you get in old albums. You could make a matching game with flags and for the different countries. There are also sets of president stickers you could use, or flags for each state. This is one of my favorite things that I've created. Someone donated a box of covers from all around the world. And then at the very same show, someone gave me a box of coins. So I put the coins in coin sleeves and tried to find one coin to match one cover from that country. And children and adults really enjoyed looking at the coins and then finding the cover from the same country. Another activity that kids really enjoy is making their own covers. And you probably know this, but the USPS does issue a postal bulletin that lists their event cancels. And so you could design an activity around cancels that are available. And these are some of the covers that my children made. In 2012, there was the Edgar Rice Burroughs stamp. And we live in Wisconsin, and we found out that Tarzan actually came to Wisconsin. And while he was here, he saved Jane from a forest fire in the woods. So that's why that cover has the state of Wisconsin outline on it. And also on 12/12/12 was the perfect day to commemorate Aaron Rodgers, who's the quarterback for the Packers. And the owl cover was made for my son's owl collection for 4-H. And then down at the bottom, the Harry Potter cover, one of my sons really liked Harry Potter, so he actually sat and designed 20 different covers for that whole set of stamps, which was fabulous because it kept them very busy for a long time. You can also make event covers from your local post office. The Star Wars one, another son created, because he loves Legos and Star Wars, and we did that one and had it canceled on May 4th. And again, the Harry Potter one, so that to go with his Harry Potter collection, was canceled on Harry Potter's birthday. These are some activities that club leaders might like to use. And on the ATA's website, there's an introduction to stamp collecting guide, and there's a topical tidbits issue on stamp collecting. And it goes over a lot of skills that stamp collectors should have. So you could either print out the whole issue, or you could just print out the sheets that you want to use for a specific skill, like how to hinge stamps or how to soak stamps, and your whole meeting could revolve around that one skill. A really fun game to play with stamp collectors is left, center, right. And it originally comes with little chips that you collect, but you can exchange the chips for stamps. Beforehand, I put 5 stamps in a little envelope and give one to each child. And to play, the kids take turns rolling the dice, and they have to pass a stamp to the left or the right, or if they roll a dot, the stamp goes in the center, which creates a jackpot for the winner. And then he gets to take the stamps home with him. In the Toys and Games issue of Topical Tidbits, there are many games that you can print out and play. Included are dominoes, a memory game, and a guess who game. Kids love finding hidden images that are embedded in some US stamps. In order to do this activity, though, you will need a stamp decoder, and these can often be found in stamp auctions or on eBay. You'll also need copies of the original stamp so that the decoder can be used. Once the hidden image is found, the answer can then be recorded on the activity sheet. There are several free printable albums available on the Wisconsin Federation of Stamp Club's website. The postmark album is a great way to teach children about postmarks. There are spots for machine cancels, slogan cancels, hand cancels, and meter cancels, and definitions of all those terms. And then there's a space for the child to put a cancel for each state and territory. The very last page is a cancel scavenger hunt, which could be printed separately and used as a standalone activity. Other albums include a World Topical album, which you would pick a country that you wanted to focus on. And then there are pages for places, people, animals, art, holidays, where you could put stamps for that particular country. The mini world album is just big enough for one small stamp for each country to be placed. And I designed this one so that all those boring definitive stamps that nobody wants could be used up. The Christmas Around the World album has Merry Christmas written in different languages, along with a country name and a place for children to put the appropriate stamp. Scavenger hunts are always a fun activity. Kids love nothing better than digging through a tub of stamps, and there are many of these also available on the Wisconsin Federation's page. Everything from patriotic hunts to numbers, Olympics, and American symbols. This was a fun activity that I made called I Spy. I took black poster board and cut it in half and then glued down stamps related to a certain topic. The one on the left that the little girl is doing is objects. And then you print out a list of all the objects you want them to find with a blank space in front of it. And then when they do find it, they can put down the denomination on the line to show that they found the right stamp. And other topics that I've made these for are animals and people. I think this would be a fun activity for ATA study groups to make to promote their interests. On the American First Day Cover Society's website, there are materials to create this board to use at a stamp show to introduce children to collecting covers. And I believe there's one on the American Topical Association's website to promote topical collecting, but I don't have a picture of that one. The activity books that I created for World Stamp Show are available for free on the Wisconsin Federation's website. And those were geared for, the blue one is ages 7 and under, and the red one was ages 8 and up. The activities centered around the 7 continents, and you can print out the whole book, or you can just print out one page if you like. Also included in these books is a standalone guide to stamp collecting that could be used for club meetings or stamp shows. Dawn mentioned the Magical World of Stamp Collecting, which is available on the ATA's website, and it's full of activities that are illustrated with Disney stamps. On the Wisconsin Federation of Stamp Clubs website is a Boy Scout Merit Badge PowerPoint, and it was inspired by material from Carol Edholm and Brian Jones. It goes through the requirements needed by Scouts to earn the Stamp Collecting Merit Badge. This is a very rigorous process, and there are many topics that most collectors aren't familiar with. So it would make a great presentation to use with your adult club or with a youth club. And the APS website has additional resources that could be used with this presentation. Also on the APS website are worksheets for their Stamps Teach program. These include all subjects like math, science, social studies, English, and art. And these could easily be adapted for club activities, or they could be used in a homeschool classroom. The APS also has beautiful full color stamp albums that can be printed. There are many topics to choose from, and there are ones for almost all of the states. The Postal History Foundation in Tucson, Arizona offers free stamp packets and lessons to teachers and children. Another way to engage youth is through videos. These could be watched at home, or they could be used for a stamp club program. The Rocky Mountain Philatelic Library has wonderful videos, and their ones with the circus and dragons could be combined with the circus and dragon issues of Topical Tidbits. The APS's YouTube channel has many videos that kids would enjoy. And a favorite of ours with Stamp Club kids is always rapping about my stamps. And I think Tom Broadhead is the one that made that video. Another favorite with Stamp Club kids and with our adult club is the Exploring Stamp videos put out by Graham Beck. He does a fabulous job of explaining concepts and engaging the audience. And last but not least, the National Postal Museum. They have many fabulous videos on stamp production, vintage footage of mail delivery, post office promotional videos, and even one on Oni, whom children always love to learn about. The museum also has wonderful educational resources available. I'd like to give a special thanks to Mary Ann Bowman, who's been my mentor extraordinaire over the years. She is a never-ending font of ideas, and many of the ideas presented here today came from her. I appreciate all of you attending. And this is my email if you think of any questions after today's session is over. Thank you very much.